Well, that was one of the worst losses of the Pittsburgh Penguins season. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski from Mullet Arena here in Tempe, Arizona, where the Penguins lose 5-2 to the Arizona Coyotes. The score, I don't think, even begins to tell the story of this game because there were just so many failures on the part of the Penguins. Most notably, they had a shot to win the game. They're down 1 goal in the third period. In fact, later in the second period, they actually tied the game 2-2. Sidney Crosby makes an unbelievable kind of a chip shot through a defenseman's legs just after a power play expired, and they're tied at 2. However, 91 seconds later, more defensive gaffes, more laziness, more apathetic play just descends upon the Penguins. Ryan Graves and Erik Karlsson, they were in the right spots and just didn't play very hard. And Jason Zucker did play hard on Monday night. The former Penguins winger had a couple of breakaways, scored on one, took the puck away from Ryan Graves behind the net, just lifted his wallet, put it right in front for Alex Kerfoot before anybody could cover Kerfoot, and kabloom go the Penguins. That was 3-2, and that really was kind of the death knell. However, if you're really into season moments, and I mean moments that turn an entire season, you had one early in the third period, the Penguins killing a penalty, draw their own penalty. So there's a delayed call. Arizona can't touch the puck, right? You think Arizona can't score. However, Chris Letang kind of tapped it back towards the empty net for Evgeny Malkin. Now, Letang's tap was going wide, a point that he made very clear to articulate. Malkin kind of lazily not ready for it or just not thinking, deflects it into the Penguins' open net. 4-2. The Arizona Coyotes became the first team in NHL history to score a power play goal without a shot. That's according to Elliot Friedman and NHL statistics. Coach Mike Sullivan, he kind of reminded me of my mother a little bit on Monday night because he took a long time to come out and talk to us. I mean, an inordinately long time to come and do his media availability. And he wasn't curt or crisp or surly as I expected. And why he reminded me, I think, maybe of all of our mothers, at least, those of you who are old enough before kids were perfect, of course, where your mother's just railing into you, just tearing into you, letting you have it. And then she has to talk to somebody on the phone or out in person, like company comes, and she's like, oh, hi, yeah, without really betraying how angry she might be. And I think that was Mike Sullivan Monday night. He didn't give the 2-word answers, and he didn't rip his team. He kind of smiled through his teeth, if you kind of get where I'm going with all of this. I am sure there will be changes coming. The Penguins have gotten to the point now where they cannot accept what has been going on. So I put out the call. I got a ton of Twitter questions. I couldn't get to them all. So I'll start off with my favorite question. Came from Lenny. Lenny says, if you're the GM, what's the first thing you change? Now, I have to be a little bit diplomatic with this answer because I am a beat writer, not a talk show host. I can't just rip into the team as I think they deserve. I think there is a problem with Erik Karlsson's fit with the team. I think there is a problem with Evgeny Malkin's level of play. I think, as I wrote on Sunday, certainly when those two get together, bad things happen. Not good things, bad things. I think at this point, after 44 or so games, that there's a problem with Ryan Graves' fit with the team. So what would my first change be? pick your poison there. But I think changes have to be made. Whether it's Malkin's role with the team, whether Erik Karlsson gets a come-to-Jesus meeting. Because right now, I mean, listen, I think at this point in the season, he looks like a solo artist. One of my readers popped that on the comments section, and it stuck with me as perfect. I think it was actually a San Jose reader who came over from San Jose Hockey Now to read a Karlsson article. So I apologize for stealing your material, kind reader. But it fits so perfectly. Something has to give. Something has to change because it isn't good enough. And unless Sidney Crosby picks up his team on any given night, the Penguins are in trouble. They've willed themselves back into this playoff race, largely on Crosby's back. But on nights like Monday, where Crosby doesn't have it or isn't filling the net, boy, the mistakes pile up quickly. LTIRD Man asks, how has White looked? Poor D-Man can't watch the games now because he doesn't have the upgraded Comcast package. And by the way, Sportsnet Pittsburgh did send out a kind of an angry tweet on Monday urging Comcast to put Sportsnet back on the lower tier. Who knows? Billionaires fighting billionaires sometimes. You never know who's going to blink. I think White looked very good against Vegas. He wasn't bad against Arizona. Certainly, I didn't circle him for any negatives. For a third-line guy, I will put this out there, though. For a third-line guy trying to make the team, make an impression, make a mark, in a game like this, you want to see that third-liner do something of note. Crack somebody, punch somebody, stir the pot. White didn't really do that on Monday. I thought he had an opportunity to kind of establish himself in a little bit of a role like that, but he didn't. Otherwise, he's been fine. He was really good against Vegas on the forecheck, going to the net, creating, moving the puck, playing defense on the penalty kill, etc. Jay Piskorik, how far can this team get torn down? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. They will not tear this team down. Why? It's like a one-track mind. This team won't get torn down. There might be big changes. There might be real significant changes, but they will not tear it down. Comprende. Look, maybe Malkin gets traded. I mean, that's a 1 in 100 shot. Perhaps Karlsson. That's probably a 1 in 10 shot. Gensel, 1 in 5. Maybe 1 in 4. But you're not going to get the tear it down to the studs. It's just not going to happen. Because don't forget, these guys get a say. G asks, would getting Malkin a winger jumpstart his season? Actually, I think moving Malkin to wing might jumpstart his season. He's just not looking good enough at center. He's not getting on that puck. He's not pressuring the defense like he can. He's not moving well enough. Just so many things with Malkin's game right now. I tend to disagree a little bit with Mike Sullivan, who said on Sunday that Malkin is trying to do too much. And maybe he is, but these are things he used to be able to do. I think that step has left Malkin. He has to adjust, and the coaches have to help him adjust, and perhaps that's the discussion they're really having. I think, I've been saying this for a while. I've been wrong for a while. Maybe my time has come. Malkin to left wing. I don't know. Listen, there's just too many things going wrong that Sidney Crosby, Tristan Jarry, Alex Nedeljkovic, Jake Gensel have camouflaged. And I keep expecting the rest of the team to rally around them and get on the upswing. But they just, too many nights like Monday night where they flatline, heartless. And that's kind of disgusting. I'm kind of at a loss for words on, you've got a playoff spot in the palm of your hand, but you have to seize it. And just like last season, down the stretch when they again had a playoff spot in their hands and they almost consciously chose not to seize it, this feels a little bit like that too, where they're submitting terrible performances in the biggest moments. B says Graves has been embarrassingly bad. He was responsible for 3 of 5 goals Monday night. He needs to sit. Graves has actually been pretty good for a couple of weeks. Like, he's been gaining traction, getting better. No, he and Carlson were terrible Monday. Absolutely terrible, beating around the net, chasing, and they were bad. But see, this is what kind of, sometimes I need y'all to hear me when I tell you something, not just wait to reassert an opinion. Graves was terrible. Graves will not sit. For Graves, it was one blip on a rising tide. That tide still isn't high enough, though. He does have to be better. He does have to get stronger in front of his own net. So I'm maybe giving a nuanced answer there for you. Yes, Graves is on the uptick, but no, Graves is not where the Penguins need him to be. No, he's not going to sit, though. Jack Hammer. There's like a Brian Hammer who follows me, so I think his name, I'm assuming your name is Jack Hammer. Who goes first, 59 or 67? Seems kind of a superfluous question, actually, Jack. Doesn't really matter. I mean, if they trade one, they can keep the other. I would expect both to stay. What's that? Steers? I can't read my writing. I apologize. Kyle Dubas, wasn't he supposed to be the answer? What is going on and who gets fired? I don't think anyone gets fired. I think maybe people get traded. I think a serious shake, a good shake-up is needed with the team. These last 2 losses just feel significant. After the strides and progress they made, it all completely unraveled. Jay Stripsky. How much will these 2 losses affect Dubas's decisions? Great question. We're going to end on this one, Jay Stripsky. I'm going to use actually a lot of the questions tomorrow. I'll write on the plane home. My flight, I'm actually here at the arena. It's almost 2 a.m. Eastern time, so it's almost midnight Arizona time. My flight is at 6:20, so I have to be at the airport at like 4:30. So I get like 3 hours sleep because my rental car place is actually off the airport. And that's going to be a fun thing too. To answer your question, however, Dubas himself said the All-Star break was kind of his line of demarcation of where the team was, where they're headed. I have been fighting an uphill battle, trying to show that the Penguins have been rising, arrows pointing up. That was absolutely 110% true until the third period in Vegas. But okay, you think they're going to rebound from that. And they don't. They go the other way. So, I think these 2 games will be very impactful. Incredibly, extremely impactful. Because now it puts the Penguins in a hole. And they don't have a lot of games. They've got 2 more games before their big bye and the All-Star break. 2 more, and that's it. They'd better win both. And they'd better win at least one of those 2 convincingly. One of those gutsy, strong, dominant performances. If they just squeak by, I think these 2 losses will these 2 losses are grape juice on the white carpet. And they had the world in their palm of their hand, and they gave it back through their own, honestly, on Monday night, their own laziness, their own sloth, perhaps arrogance, their own dead-leggedness. I mean, they've had plenty of practice time. They've had plenty of everything, plenty of opportunity, and they handed it all back on this 2-game trip with just inexplicable defensive gaffes. And yes, a lot of those gaffes were made by the usual suspects. I think if Dubas is going to make big changes, you start with those mistake-prone usual suspects. Take that to the bank. And if you want to know what changes I'd make, there you go. All right, so I've got 4 hours to get home, grab a little bit of sleep, get the rental car back, and get back to Pittsburgh. I'll be back in the afternoon. So, folks, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, share. Talk about Pittsburgh hockey now. Put us on the message boards. And, hey, you can disagree with me, rip me, but the thing I'd ask, you come at me with a little bit, come at me straight. We'll have the argument, and yeah, I understand. My column on Monday afternoon aged like milk. I still believe it, though. I still think Penguins fans, a lot of them are rooting for losses because they want a tear down, because they're bored, because they want change, they want the excitement, not realizing what comes next. After all the drumbeat and the excitement of tearing it down and new coaches, after that, after things settle, trust me, I've been through these. It's worse than what you've got now. For a long time, too. Have fun, kids, from Mullet Arena. If I ever come back here, it might be too soon. Have fun.